is a Friday, and we are locked and loaded here on Don't At Me. We can't wait. Seth Greenberg and the coach Bruce Pearl are going to join us to preview the Final Four. We got the women's Final Four. No one likes Caitlin Clark more than I. Donald Trump indicted. But first, you know, when we speak, people listen. Tennessee lawmakers are in the process of introducing a $600 million bill. Bill Hagerty, Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee are saying, let's protect our kids. Thank you, Bill Hagerty and Marsha Blackburn. This is not that difficult. Instead of sending money for all of the crap, the Michelle Obama walking trail and all the other garbage, here's the deal. We got to protect our kids. Private and public schools could use the funds to train and hire military veterans and former law enforcement officers to serve as armed guards at school. Wow. The grants could also be used to harden schools and improve physical security with surveillance systems, silent alarms, automatic locking mechanism, and metal detector. Wow. By providing schools with critical funds, we are protecting our children. That's right. You can jump up and down, stand on your head, and crap snowballs about whatever. But you can't stop crazy people. And if you want to get rid of guns, then get rid of them. Do your thing. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I don't need whatever. I don't need it. We need security guards. We need schools fortified because a crazy person with a gun can only be stopped by a sane, good person with a gun. Well, what about compassion? There ain't no compassion when somebody walks into a school menacingly trying to do damage to innocent young children. Period. So good for Marsha Blackburn, good for Bill Hagerty of Tennessee introducing this bill. Now, whether it passes or not, hey, look, I don't know what to tell you. I honestly don't know what to tell you. Who knows whether it passes or not, or if it's going to pass, do we have to put, Michelle Obama's gym membership in there? Do we have to put Michelle Obama's weight loss? Do we have to pay for her Weight Watchers? What do we got to do to pass a bill here? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, good for these two that at least in Tennessee, they're thinking about our kids. They're trying to fortify. They're trying to make it such that our kids are safe in school. They're trying to do something. Yikes. Why is this so difficult? Why is this so hard? I mean, it seems like common sense to me. All right. The other thing that we're getting into today, and we're going to get into sports here in a minute, but some things are so ridiculous. So a member of the transgender community walks into Covenant School and kills 6. Had a manifesto, which apparently we're not going to get because it would offend the LGBTQ whatever community. Now, the world as we know it, at least our political world, is saying, and this is remarkable, this is absolutely insanity to me, they are saying, well, you know, our transgender kids are under attack. Wait a second. It looked like Christian kids were under attack. It looked like 6 Christian kids died at the hands of a member of the transgender community. Now, I don't pretend to put it all in the transgender community. This is one sick individual. And I don't know a single person. I really don't. I don't know a single person that doesn't support, if you want to be old enough and figure it out, go ahead and live your best life. I don't know anybody that doesn't support that. I certainly support that. But I want you to listen to what is ever that lady's name? I don't even like saying her name. The press secretary of the United States. Listen to what she had to say just a few days after the massacre, and it was a massacre, of 6 Christian kids. Let's see what she has to say, Dylan.
And one of the things that we saw during the midterm elections is that people don't want their freedoms to be taken. They want us to fight for their freedoms. And so it is shameful, it is disturbing, and our hearts go out to the trans community as they are under attack right now. But
you know what the under attack is? So I did some research, and the Bible, according to progressives or liberals or whatever you want to call them, is, of course, the New York Times. Did you know what under attack is? Part of being under attack is saying and passing legislation in schools that say you cannot talk sex under 6th grade or under. Well, good. Who the heck needs to teach? My daughter's a 4th grader. She won't be sitting there talking about sex to her 4th grade class. It also says, and this is part of the under attack, listen to this. You cannot talk about gender identity at any time. Good. You're there to learn, reading, writing, arithmeticing. You're not there to hear from some crazy teacher about your gender identity. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who had a daughter that was a big-time little kid athlete. And he's like, you know what would have happened? They would have called her in and said, you know, you might be a boy. And his wife, who was a very strong woman, would have left a wake of bodies. Why are teachers involved in in somebody's sexual identity in 6th, 5th, 8th, 9th grade? What are they doing? So that's under attack. That is being called under attack. It costs you, what does it take to drive a car? In Indiana, it's $16 a month in a day. Okay. Buy booze. You got to be 21. Cigarettes, you got to be 18. So you can go as a 10-year-old and make the decision to change your sex. Doesn't make sense. So most of this legislation is saying, hey, look, doctors, we're banning kids changing their gender until they're 18. Seems reasonable. Hey, look, make it 16. I don't care. Make it when you can drive a car. But what's so hard? What is under attack about this? I mean, you can always point to somebody on either side, right? You can point to somebody that said, well, you know, so-and-so committed suicide because they were not able to transition. You can also point to the other side. So-and-so committed suicide because they transitioned, realized it wasn't the right thing, and they were too young. It's the most amazing, amazing thing. And when you read this article here in the New York Times, oh, is it slanted? But if you read it and you have some common sense, you're like, well, of course. Of course teachers shouldn't be talking about sex in 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 1st, kindergarten. Why would they want to? I guess in 7th grade, you know, things start popping up and maybe you got to talk, but I don't even know why that. You got to take sex ed in high school. I don't get the deal. Well, you know, the governor of West Virginia signed a bill into law that banned transition care for minors unless the child has been diagnosed with suffering from severe gender dysphoria. Well, by at least 2 medical health care providers and has parental consent. That's under attack? That's under attack. All right. Oh, okay. Some lady, I guess, legislative analyst, we're going to have to survey the damage, but I do think most of these bills are going to be overturned in court and hopeful that the next wave of news in the summer brings some level of relief to trans Americans. I think this does bring levels of relief. I do. I think it allows you to make an informed decision. I think it allows parents to be involved. Could you imagine if your daughter or my daughter came home and said, Dad, man, some of these teachers are telling me I should be a boy. I don't know. Oh, I know exactly what I would do. I'd raise so much hell, it'd be unbelievable. What are you talking about? Yeah, I'm supposed to be a boy because, you know, I just, you know, shut up. I have all the empathy in the world for the trans community. I got no problem with anybody transitioning. Hey, that's what you live your best life. But don't paint this as under attack when, in fact, Christians were under attack, 6 of them dead. Dead. Jesus. I mean, why would a 4th grade teacher, I asked my daughter, you want to teach sex? Hell no. Hell no. Are you insane? I must have missed something. Listen to this. Transgender Americans shaped our nation's soul, proudly serving in the military, curing deadly diseases, holding elected office, running thriving business, fighting for justice, raising our family, and much more. No one's saying that they're not involved, but don't tell us they shaped our American soul. Our military has shaped our American soul. And our military is becoming incredibly woke. I just spent an entire weekend with an active military member, and he can't believe the crap that this idiot here is putting us through in the military. It's damaging. It's hurting. It's going to cost people's lives. But again, people don't care about that because, well, we got to service the trans community. Good, service the trans community, but don't tell me or anybody else they shape our American soul. If you want to say they help shape, if you want to say they're involved in, fine, but don't give me this crap. Give me this crap at all. And I'm all for it. I swear to God I am. People immediately last night when I put out, well, did I miss something? I must have missed something because a member of the transgender community walked into and shot up a school of Christians. Who's under attack here? And of course, you know what happens then. Boom, 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 boom. You're a bigot. No, I'm not. No. I just common sense and I read and I pay attention. So I went to the Bible, the New York Times, and I read that's not under attack. Hell, you can't buy smokes, you can't buy booze till a certain age. You can't get behind a car, but you can at 10 years old say, I think I'm a girl or I think I'm a boy. Are you out of your mind? What's wrong with you? 10-year-olds are still eating boogers. 10-year-olds still think that cartoon is cool. And you're going to, I feel like a girl today. What the hell's wrong with you? What's wrong with our nation? This is the crap we should not even be concerned about. It should be, look, doctors, you want to get involved in this, get involved in this. If they do have severe dysphoria, then fine. Parental consent, then fine. Nothing wrong with that. Parents are insane, right? Everybody wants to be hit. Well, my daughter's trans. My son's trans. Shut up. It's never about you. It's about your kid. Now, you can get on my backside all you want. Well, you're a bad guy. You missed a tweet. No, but I'm a hell of a father. I'll tell you that right now. I am one hell of a father and a hell of a stepfather. This is stuff I know about, and I've had enough of listening to all the stupid crap coming out of attacked from our press secretary. That ain't attacked, ladies and gentlemen. That's trying to make it such that people don't make mistakes that cost them the rest of their life. Just stop with the attacked crap. Particularly just days after a massacre from a member of the community that you are now saying is under attack. If I were a parent of one of the 6 people, I'm not even have to be a parent. You just scratch your head and go, how stupid are these people? How insensitive, how insecure are these people here running our lives, I guess, in Washington? How stupid can you be? I get it. The press secretary's bisexual. I could care less. I care less what she is. I care less who she sleeps with. Doesn't matter to me even a little bit. But don't sit up there and be so blind that you try to throw bullshit our way and that we've got to all of a sudden go along with it, that this community, whose member just killed 6 people in cold blood in a massacre, that they're under attack. Please. And then you read about what is actual attack, and what it is this. It's just not letting kids dictate anything they want. Just like we don't let kids dictate smoking and drinking and everything else. Now, again, write your hate, get your hate. I could care less. Because what I'm telling you is just common sense. It's just freaking common sense. Donald Trump got indicted, and let's make no mistake about this. Of course, this is politically motivated. Of course it is, but it's also racially motivated. Everybody knows Trump's black, this ain't happening. Obama, his personal stuff is sealed. Look, should Trump go to jail? I don't know, doesn't seem like it. But he didn't get indicted by just one guy. He got indicted by 12 people. A 12-person grand jury said, look, dude, you paid off some stripper to do your thing. All right, Michael Cohen is the guy, the mouthpiece. He's a proven liar. He says he paid it. Trump paid him back. Okay. 30 counts of fraud. People are celebrating. Yay, Rod, go fight, win. So you know what's going to happen. Let's just talk common sense here. Let's just talk common sense. So as soon as a Republican gets in there, if DeSantis or if Trump or whomever gets in there, guess what's going to happen? They're going to go after any other Democratic president. They're going to go after Bill Clinton, and they should. Clinton should have been in jail a long time ago. But look, at the end of the day, Trump, who knows if he's going to go to jail? Statute of limitations ran out on this. You got a prosecutor here who brought this up, who has known to let violent offenders who committed felonies, allegedly, pleaded down to misdemeanors. He is just simply doing this, Alvin Bragg, for political and race reasons. Now, I've never voted for Trump, but I'm going to this time. I'll tell you point blank. In my world, I'm not letting this stand. That's my opinion. Call me all the names you want, but that's my opinion. I always voted for me. I think Trump's a pig, but I don't get my morality from a president. I certainly don't get my morality from a Barack Obama or frickin' Bill Clinton or George H.W., whatever the hell his name is, Bush or Donald Trump. I don't want my morality. I told you. Stock market up, gas prices down. I don't want to hear the word inflation. Keep us out of a war. All those things Trump did, I want you back in office. Anybody that doesn't think this is race-related, you haven't paid attention, then good. Hey, look, it is what it is. It is what it is. Man, oh man. But that indictment came down, and now, people that would have never defended Donald Trump are now defending Donald Trump. Why? Well, because they know this is ridiculous. I like what has happened here. I like what has been said here. Florida, DeSantis said, yeah, we're not helping with extradition. And the Secret Service says, yeah, we're not cooperating with you, New York. Everybody and their mother knows that this, ladies and gentlemen, is a sham, but that's fine. It's what happens. It's what is going on in the world that we live in. It's just what's happening. Period. And if you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. Man, oh man. So Trump's going to have to turn himself in. I think it's really, really funny. But I don't get my morality from any president. Now, you just can't. You're telling me you're going to sit there and watch Bill Clinton? I got a next-door neighbor, I told you. She's a Clinton first cousin. She said even back when they were young adults, you never, at family functions, let Bill Clinton alone with a woman, one of the cousins, one of the nieces, one of the nephews. Never let him alone. I don't know. So we'll let the process work. We'll see what happens. We'll see if Bragg pukes all over himself, like DR says here. But you know what? The indictment did not come from Bragg. He just did what he did. He brought the case forward. The indictment came from 12 people, saw enough evidence on a statute of limitations that had run out on something that is at best or worst a misdemeanor. And next thing you know, we shall see what we shall see. I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to vote for him. You can get mad, glad, angry, or sad. My ass is voting for Trump. I hope he runs. I am voting for him. I probably think DeSantis is the best guy, but I'm not letting this stand. This crap ain't standing. Nuh-uh. So I anticipate all of the nonsense. I anticipate all the crap. Colbert, like your sources, you tell it like it is. Yeah. All right, the NCAA Final Four is starting tonight. That's right. And the most interesting thing about this is Aaliyah Boston. Now, you guys got the wrong Final Four. I tricked you. Aaliyah Boston, who's a stud for South Carolina, takes on another stud, Caitlin Clark for Iowa. Iowa's an 11.5-point favorite, but I got to tell you, I'm going to watch Caitlin Clark. I am. Dawn Staley's great. I don't know the coach at Iowa. I don't know the other team, but I know Aaliyah Boston is one of my favorite, and I know Caitlin Clark. And if you want fun tonight, do yourself a favor. Go ahead and watch Caitlin Clark. I hope she has a big game. I don't know if they can beat South Carolina. South Carolina reigning champ, undefeated. Nobody's been better than them, and nobody's a better coach now than Dawn Staley at South Carolina. But you got to like what Caitlin Clark is doing, National Player of the Year. The Associated Press National Basketball Player of the Year is Zach Edey. Good for Zach Edey. Final Four men's. Now you can put it up, big boy. Final Four in men's. We're going to have Bruce Pearl join us. We're going to have Seth Greenberg join us. Looking forward to breaking that down. In fact, I don't know what this show is on my TV, but I got to get the great Seth Greenberg on because, well, Seth Greenberg is going to be on your TV, and then he's coming with us. I don't know who's going to win. I'll tell you who I think is going to win. I think Miami is going to get beat by UConn. I think UConn is the best team here. They've played the best. But the team you had yesterday isn't the team you have today, and it won't be the team you have tomorrow. All right? That's the law. That's what we do in the world of college coaching. You just don't. So, why am I saying that? Well, all of these teams have had a week, and the psychology of this is interesting. Here's the deal. They all had a week. They all had a week to hear how great they are. Storrs, Connecticut is not a good, but a great basketball town. It is fantastic. It is an amazing basketball town. And the fact of the matter is, these players have been told all week long how great they are. Now, Danny Hurley is a bad boy. Danny Hurley does not mess around. Danny Hurley will get his team to play, but he's going to have to overcome. Miami, not so much. Miami, yeah, they care, but it's not like, hey, it ain't like god dang Storrs, Connecticut. It ain't like, and San Diego State's the same thing. A lot to do in San Diego. Sure, San Diego State's been good, really good. 30-2 a couple years ago would have been a 1 seed. But the truth of the matter is San Diego State doesn't have like that whole college feel that everybody has. Of course they don't. So what do you got? You got to overcome that. Florida Atlantic, you got to overcome the fact that Florida Atlantic is now in the spotlight. They were in a groove, man. Thursday, Saturday, play Thursday, Saturday, blah, blah, blah. Now you've waited a little bit. All of this matters almost as much as anything else. But if you're going to watch the game, I'm going to keep harping on this, and you're not going to hear anything like this. Watch the big guys. Watch the bigs. I mean the bigs. They have got to do a job defensively. There are 3 ways that you play the post in modern college basketball. You play the post. You guard the guy. You guard the offensive man when he is on the block posting you up. That's old school. Second way, you got to come out either on the side or the top to play a ball screen or a handoff. So you come in to out, all right? Third way, you go out to down. What does that mean? Well, I'm out there playing a ball screen at the top of the key. The big man is going to roll. The ball screener is turning the corner. You're the last line of defense because the ball's in the middle, the defense is spread out. So what happens because the defense is spread out and all of the teams have shooters, the defending player on the wing guys has to stay. You're the guy that has to figure out as a post guy how to stop the ball, not foul, and take away a lob or a dump pass. It's a tough job. And one of the reasons all 4 of these teams are here is because all 4 of these teams have guys that did it really well. You want to see how not to do it? Watch Xavier. You want to see how to do it? Watch this big kid Golden from Florida Atlantic. Man, has he done a great job. Now, their guards, Florida Atlantic, this is why they're dangerous. Defensively, they're quick enough to guard their own. What does that mean? That means if I can't guard my own guy and I need help, then guess what? The entire defense breaks down, including the backboard. When you watched the games, the last 2 games in particular, Tennessee couldn't do a daggone thing, nothing, to beat Florida Atlantic's guards. That's where not having that Ziegler kid, the point guard for Tennessee, really hurt him. They couldn't do a thing, nothing. They couldn't get past. They couldn't turn a corner, even ball screens, because of how good the Golden kid is. Now, you got to do that against the San Diego State team that isn't necessarily that quick. That's why I like Florida Atlantic in the first game. I do. I think they have the advantage in quickness. Both teams are quick. Both teams are tough. Both teams are going to guard. One scores it may be a little easier. Florida Atlantic. San Diego State has held every opponent into the 50s. They're a dynamite defensive team. But I like Florida Atlantic because, frankly, I've not seen anybody whoop their guards. And when you look at them defensively, they're tough. They can guard their own. And bigs, their big guy Golden can spread out. Now, Golden can't get in foul trouble. And John L. Davis can't get in foul trouble. You can't have your best players getting in foul trouble. I mean, that is automatic. The other game, look, UConn's the best team. Hey, what's going on? Oh, boy. Something's running around out there. That's what happens on this show. Occasionally you get Lula barking. But in the other game, ladies and gentlemen, here's the deal. UConn's best team. Sunogo is the only guy. Sunogo is the only guy on the block for either team that they go to as a number 1 option for UConn. They do. They go to him as a number 1 option, nobody else. The other teams use their guy. Mensah, nice player for San Diego State, very nice. Don't get me wrong, the big kid for Miami, or Uri, or whatever his name is, he can get 12, 13. But Sunogo's at 18 points a game. Can't foul out while doing all the defensive thing. I'm not picking against UConn. I'll tell you right now, there's no chance I'm picking against UConn. UConn has looked like the best team in the country, and in fact, UConn looks like the best team I've seen all year based on the last 2 weeks. I've not seen one team, not one, play better than UConn. Not one. Honest to God. Not one. So I look for UConn to chop down the nets beating Florida Atlantic. It's weird, isn't it, to say that? It's weird to say, hey, man, I think Florida Atlantic is going to go ahead and play in the national championship game. I think it's awesome. And by the way, Dusty May just signed a 5 or 6 year extension to be the coach at Florida Atlantic. I'm hoping Dusty May kept a little clause in there that said I can come to Bloomington. That's what I'm hoping. Because, look, Mike Woodson is about, I don't know, it's going to be a tough year next year. He better win a lot, Mike Woodson, or maybe he's on an emeritus contract. Because remember, at Indiana, if you, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to talk to Mike Woodson, you got to call Mike Woodson. You know what I mean? You got to call Mike Woodson. That's what he said. All right, we come back. Seth Greenberg joining us at 9:40. And I'm going to show you some video from yesterday where, wow, transgender people can get away with anything they want. They're shoving state officials. They're shoving cops. We'll get into that when we come back. Keep it right here.
Brady recently retiring. Your locker was very close to Tom's locker, wasn't
right
it?
next to 12, yeah.
What was that like?
Man, it was cool, man. He's a funny dude, man. He's a nice guy. Joke with him every day. You know, he's a good dude, man. He's probably one of the only dudes that I know that walk around in a bathrobe in the locker room, bro. So
you go up against him in practice all the time. Could you see that big jump coming from Daniel Jones going into this season?
Man, when I first played against Daniel, you know, coming in last year and seeing him work, man, I knew, you know, the talent that he had. It was just one of those things where, you know, you always hear the saying, God's timing is always right. It was just one of those moments where you knew eventually it was going to click and everything was going to work out, not just for him, but for us as a team. And I'm just so happy for him.
Which video game are you most proud of making the cover for?
Oh, definitely Madden. Madden, yeah. Like I remember I come from a big family. My mom had 6 sisters and 1 brother and a lot of cousins, 30-some cousins. And, you know, and I remember one of the younger ones was like, man, you're on Madden. You're really good. And I was like, like, I was the high school #1 player in the country.
Yeah.
I broke every record at Alabama, All-American. I get the pros. I'd won the MVP already. You know?
Yeah.
Been to the Super Bowl, won the MVP. He's like, now because of man, now you're cool. I was like, oh, okay.
You had done a few things.
Yeah. You know, now I'm good. Okay, all right. Well, that's how it works in y'all's minds.
And I remember when I first started working in the morning news. Shout out to Drew Kaliski, super producer for NFL Today. He was just talking about season. How you feeling? You know, you ready to go? Are you excited? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like awkwardly hesitating to ask me a question. And I'm like, what's up, man? Speak your piece. And he's like, do you know what's going on in the NFL? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, do you know who plays for what teams and who's been traded where? I'm like, yeah, bro. What do you think? I'm living under a rock? And this is my job. I'm studying just like anything else.
Seth Greenberg coming up in about 10 minutes. Bruce Pearl at the top of the hour. Transgender protesters marched on the State House in downtown Nashville. Let's get a little video here of these criminals. thing that I always like about these type of things is that you see people in there, they don't know what the hell. They're not. They're just laughing. They're smiling. Like, hey, yeah, I really don't know why I'm here, but you know what? They said to be here. They said there was going to, look at this lady. She just barging in, but she's putting her hands up, so that gives her cover. I mean, good for her. See, you're not outsmarting these people. They understand how to go about the business of making themselves the victim while making themselves the perpetrator. It's pretty clever if you really think about it. It's a transurrection, ladies and gentlemen. It's a transurrection. And we're all supposed to bend down and go, oh, my God. The assault on trans people includes, well, you know, we're not going to talk about sex under sixth grade. Oh, the horror. And teachers aren't going to talk about gender identity at all. Oh, my God. Wait a second. We're going to talk about reading, writing, arithmeticing? You've got to be kidding me. I cannot believe this. This shall not stand. I cannot have this. This does not seem to be appropriate. I must teach a second grader girl that can throw a baseball that she should be a boy. And I must hide it from mom and dad because I'm a teacher. I went to school to be a teacher, so I'm hiding it from everybody. Look, seems reasonable to me. Again, I'll say the same thing. Seems reasonable to me. You know who should be protesting? Christians should be protesting. They just got slaughtered. 6 of them slaughtered by a member of the trans community. And yet, because it does not fit the agenda, because it was not a middle-aged or young white male, we're just going to lie about it at the highest levels of our government. Hey, if we get a chance before we get to Seth Greenberg, could we play again that press secretary who decided it is mere days, after a slaughter of 6 innocent people in a school, she chooses to thoughts and prayers are with the trans community, a member of whom did the slaughtering. Can we play her right now?
And one of the things that we saw during the midterm elections is that people don't want their freedoms to be taken. They want us to fight for their freedoms. And so it is shameful, it is disturbing, and our hearts go out to the trans community as they are under attack right now. But
under attack. I mean, the words that we use, this lady, that's all she's got is words. Under attack means you got to be a certain age before doctors can treat you to become a transgender, to transition. You got to be a certain age. Listen to this. This is considered under attack. This is from the New York Times, which is, the liberal Bible. The law, now, this is the way it's written. I'm just going to read this to you. The law, which began as a fairly narrow bill, but steadily grew into a much larger package of restrictions, specifically bans surgeries, puberty blockers, hormone therapy for children under 18. They call them children under 18. That's attack? How is that an attack? How many lives are going to be saved by doing that? How much misery? I don't know the answer. I'm just asking you. In my opinion, that is reasonable. In my opinion, it's reasonable to say, look, if you can't go buy a pack of smokes, you can't drive a car, you can't buy a beer, you can't buy a vodka, you can't buy a liter, you can't go into a bar. What makes you think at 14, 15 years old that you know and are smart enough, or I guess not smart enough, informed enough that you can change your sex? That's not an attack. I mean, I guess it's going to be portrayed as attack, but you tell me. I'll hang up and listen. Doesn't seem like an attack. Seems like maybe they're just saying what has happened is this has gotten out of control in our schools. This has gotten dangerous. You know, whether you agree with a bill or not, whether you agree with all the crap that's put into a bill, take that out for just a second. Most people that are going to propose a bill in front of Congress are reasonable people, and they've done some research. Now, there's some idiotic people in there. We know that. But when so many states are involved, and there is a ton of them, Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Iowa, Tennessee, Utah, Arkansas, at least give credit that maybe, just maybe, there's some research into this. Maybe, just maybe, it's not based on, quote, like this lady, disarm hate. You can move the goalpost to hate if you'd like, and that's fine. That's what you do. That's great. Good for you. Yay, Rob. But the fact of the matter is we got laws for everything. And again, I can't drive a car in Indiana when I'm 16 years old. It's 16 a month and a day, or at least it used to be. I haven't worried about it since my daughter got her license, or since Tegan, my stepdaughter, got her license. But that's the world that we live in. You want to go to a baseball game. Baseball's all the rage. By the way, I love the pitch clock. You're not buying a beer at age 14. Why? Bad for you. You at least admit there is at least some common sense in one of these states. Like maybe you don't like Iowa. Maybe you don't like Arkansas. Sarah Huckabee, this, all the crap. But you got to admit, at least since 10 of these states, at least in some way, shape, or form, there's some common sense in this. You may disagree with it, but it doesn't always have to go to hate. Can we all agree with it? It doesn't, like you're not doing what we want. That's like a little kid. You hate me, Mom. I hate you, Mom. You're not letting me go over Susie Rottencrotch's house. No, I'm not. I hate you. You hate me. Okay, that's all this is. We don't get our way, so we say it's hate. It's childish. It's ridiculous. But is anybody surprised that that's how it is? That's why you listen to the show. We give you common sense. We do. Occasionally we miss on tweet, but we give you common sense. All right. One of the other things. Did you know this? CBS News. CBS News bans staffers from using the word transgender. Yeah, you're not going to use the word transgender when describing the transgender person who shot up the Christian school. You can't say transgender. You know, in Indiana, when we're looking for a criminal, maybe it's in your state too, we can't say whether the perpetrator of the crime is white or black. I mean, you can, but news organizations don't. Hey, we're looking for an African-American dude. We're looking for a black guy. We're looking for a white guy. We're looking for a... You can't do that. So how the hell do you find them? How do you narrow it? So we say the word transgender on the news all the time. Hell, I'm sure CBS News, if they were given the opportunity, that flag that you're seeing wouldn't be blue and white, it'd be rainbow colored. I'm sure that if the news organizations in this country had it their way, they would change the American flag, red, white, and blue, to rainbows. I'm sure they would. But how ridiculous is it to say somebody's transgender? Look, I'm for not. Look, I don't want to hear about my gay friend. I don't care who you're screwing. How about take it all out? Take it all out. Take all of it out. All of it. Don't talk about the gay. Don't talk about heterosexual. Don't talk about lesbian. Don't talk about any of it. You know, Dan Dakich, a noted heterosexual, and I am noted, and I am a heterosexual. But anyway, stop with the garbage. Just stop with the complete crap of, they're under attack. They ain't under attack. The CDC, FDA, and Dr. Fauci, remember they repeatedly told us that every child under the age of 6 months should get vaccinated. The WHO, World Health Organization, has updated their guidance saying healthy children do not need the COVID vaccine. Well, really? Look, I got the vaccine. Algorithm goes open source at noon Pacific time, according to Elon Musk. What does that mean? I know this. Our Twitter numbers went way down once they changed the algorithm. They all did. Rudy Gobert accuses the NBA of blatantly trying to help the Suns, the Warriors, and the Knicks win games. That's about the last thing the NBA needs right now, isn't it? Isn't that the last thing they need? They don't need a player coming out and saying, hey guys, we think you're cheating. See, I've never believed, my wife does. My wife believes that everything is rigged, and you guys know I always say, hey, Lee, was softball rigged? Well, no, nobody cares. Well, they might. But everything else is rigged other than her sport. Anyway, well, most people think the NBA is rigged. People, and this isn't just now, this goes way back. This goes back to Magic and Bird in 1980 playing in the NBA playoffs. Really, how'd that happen? How'd these two guys that were so popular in college all of a sudden get into the NBA, a dying NBA, a drug-infused NBA, and all of a sudden now, they're in the NBA Finals. It's odd. It was odd then. It was talked about then. It has never changed. So now you got a player, Rudy Gobert, a respected player, saying it. And I got to tell you, I think Rudy Gobert ought to shut the hell up. I think Rudy Gobert, who was one of the, if not the biggest jackasses as we started the COVID world, I guess you would call it, by rubbing himself on microphones, kind of flaunting it, was a complete idiot. During that time, was basically just an NBA player during that time. He is now speaking, and he should not speak. He just should not speak on it. Doesn't need to speak on it. If he's got a problem, he should keep it behind closed doors. Look, the media, well, I don't know about the media, but people always think that the NBA is fixed. They do, they will, they can. And the more credence given to it, the worse off people are, period. Opening day, baby. You know, yesterday, I got all over Marcus Stroman. See, when I challenge people, they respond. You think this is just, I don't know, a talk show, just an old guy ranting, just an old guy speaking into the wind, but no. You saw what happened when I ripped Indiana. They won like 7 of 8 games or something like that. It's no different than Marcus Stroman yesterday, the Cubs pitcher. He was sensational. You know, we used to say this. You could always tell how the Cubs season is going to go by the first inning. First inning went okay. First pitch was in the dirt. But you know what? After that, Stroman struck out the side. Cubs get a yes, sir. Cubs get a shutout. No one's been able to score on the Cubs. Break up the Cubs. They're going 162. And, in fact, I'm going to go buy a new W flag because our other one is a little bit worn. Don't at me either. The White Sox are – it was a great day in Chicago. If you grew up in and around Chicago and you rooted for Chicago teams, here's what happened yesterday. The Cubs won. The White Sox won. And who lost? What? Cardinals. Even though Adam Wainwright sang the national anthem. Braves over the Nationals. Yankees got her done over the Giants. And I just last night, Aaron Judge, first at bat of the year. That's kind of how it should start. The season should start with Aaron Judge hitting a home run so that our guy Seth Greenberg is happy. When the Yankees win or he's got something to talk about on SportsCenter, he is happy. And now as he walks in the dome, the great Seth Greenberg with the great dome, Aaron Judge hit a home run, big boy. You're happy.
Hey, he does what he does. I mean, everyone, they are who they are. Aaron Judge, when he steps to the plate, you expect him to go yard. That's just the way it is. I mean, we're talking about the most famous sports organization in the history, the New York Yankees. We're not talking about like the Indianapolis, whatever they are. I mean, we're talking about the Yankees. We're talking about Aaron Judge. He signed a big contract. He said, all right, thank you very much. Let me go yard. End of conversation.
Why you got to be
I'm walking out of the dome. I'm walking out of the dome now. Walking by the trucks.
Why you got to be hurtful to the Indianapolis Indians?
There's going to be a little basketball game here. What'd you say?
Why you got to be hating on the Indianapolis Indians?
Indianapolis. No, I love it. I love it. I love that little ball. I love that ballpark right there. Right across the street.
I know.
Did you hear me? Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Got you now. Hey, I think this is a Final Four of toughness. You know Danny Hurley better than anyone. I would describe you as his mentor. Congratulations, as your mentee is playing better than any. Do you agree? Like, these four teams are really, really physically tough, in my opinion.
100%. These four teams are really good. I mean, like everyone says, it's Connecticut's championship to lose. No, you don't lose championships. You got to go out and win championships. And all four of these teams are capable of doing it. They're all a little bit different, but they're all capable of doing it. I'm getting redirected right here. I mean, like, Miami went through Houston and Texas. They had the toughest road. And Trace Jackson Davis, they had the toughest road to the Final Four. FAU beat the best in the country, and Marquise Noel, maybe the most dynamic guy in the NCAA tournament. I mean, San Diego State, they got by Alabama, a team that we all thought maybe would win the national championship. So all of these teams, Dan, this is great TV, by the way. All these teams have a legitimate chance to win, but Connecticut is the most talented team. There's no doubt about it.
Is that our girl Trish in the background?
Trish is in the background. We got the whole cast.
Oh, yeah. Live TV, baby. Seth Greenberg, Trish, the whole crew. Hey, Seth, FAU, San Diego State. FAU went nose-to-nose with Tennessee. John L. Davis, terrific. What are you seeing in this game?
I've got FAU winning this game. Let me do this seatbelt here. I've got FAU winning this game. And I'll tell you why. If you can score against Tennessee, you can score against San Diego State. And look, let's face it, Dan. I mean, like, you can't hit, but you can't catch. I think the toughest thing about FAU is that anyone can initiate their break, and every single lane is competitive. Now, it's not like they're shooting layups in transition, but they rebound the basketball, and they can rebound the basketball and get out. Getting matched up when you have a bigger lineup is really, really hard to me. If you're anyone playing against FAU, they got shot makers and floor gamers all over the floor. They come at you. They fill gaps and lanes. All right, they get penetration, they make another, and they get a good shot. They're going to get 5 uncontested shots in transition. Just because San Diego State's not going to be able to get matched up. Now, I'm a huge Dutch fan. I think they do an amazing job. They build this team in the tournament. I think they're physical. Let me ask you this. Look at San Diego State. Do they have a go-to scorer at the end of the game?
You know, I was thinking the Bradley kid was, Seth, but he's sitting out a lot at the end of the game. He's the only double-figure guy that they have. I'm going to say him. I've watched a lot of Mountain West basketball this year for whatever the reason, and I thought it was him, but not necessarily.
Has been him in the NCAA tournament. It's been Travell. The NCAA tournament was at both the end of the game. So do they have a guy at the end? And if they can't get to the offensive glass, if they can't turn you over or basically do what they've done in the NCAA tournament, hold you like 70% from 3-point line, I don't think you can do that to FAU. I think FAU, the speed at which they play, their ability to play ahead of the defense, a lot like Tennessee. Now, look, San Diego State isn't as big as Tennessee. They're not going to play too big the whole game. Where Tennessee, I still don't understand why they didn't go small at one point so they could get matched up. But it's going to be a great game. But I've got FAU a little just slightly ahead of San Diego State. And then the Miami Connecticut game is going to be fascinating because if Andre Jackson defends Isaiah Wong, who defends Jordan Miller? That's going to be Alex Caravan. And that's going to be an interesting matchup to watch. And on the other side, you know, you've got Luka Poplar, who's a terrific defender. Jordan Hawkins cannot disappear in this game for Connecticut.
Is that a worry of yours? Does Hawkins disappear a lot?
He can, he'll play great one half, not show up the first half, miss a couple shots, have a little self-doubt at times. I'm a huge Jordan Hawkins fan, but and I know those kids really well. I said, you've got to have the arrogance of a great shooter and a great player. If you miss 2 in a row, that means you're going to make your next 4. And you've got he's got a green light. He doesn't chase it, but he's got to remain aggressive. Connecticut's different than everyone else, Dan, because they don't run. They're bottom third in the country ball screen offense. All right, they insist on 64% of the possessions because they move the ball and move people. I mean, you watch how Jordan Hawkins plays off the ball. It's old school, man. Changes speeds, waits on screens, explodes off screens. It gets behind the ball and the catch. I mean, he is fun to watch off the ball offensively.
What do you think of Miami?
I think they're really good. I think they're simple, simplistic, elegance. Like the guards are great. They can make shots. Nigel Pack, you say what you want about the contract he signed with that guy Ruiz, but here's the deal, guys. In the last 10 games, he shoots 40% from the three and averages 16 points a game. Like a return on investment. Or Chad O'Meara, they didn't pay him enough because that dude gobbles up rebounds like Pac-Man. And then Jordan Miller, I think, is one of the tougher matchups in the league, in the tournament. And I think that's Alex Caravan has guarded good players. He's guarded Bryce Hopkins. He's guarded good players in the Big East. He's got a tough matchup, and he's going to be on Jordan Miller. Jordan Miller can beat you a lot of different ways.
Seth, I'm going to let you go, man. I appreciate you hopping on. I know you're swamped. Thanks for a few minutes, my friend.
D squared, you're the man. Behave yourself, please.
See ya. How about that wild ride with our friend Seth Greenberg from inside the dome to the parking lot by the truck to in the car with the beautiful and talented makeup lady, the lovely Trish. I don't know her last name, but I've always liked hanging out with her at the Final Four. But Seth's right. Look, these are matchup problems. I don't know that I could ever pick, not ever, but I could not pick against UConn right now. I don't think I can. Like, I'm watching UConn, and I'm like, my God, they're long, they run, they play. How do you want to play? You know, that's the same thing with Florida Atlantic. How do you want to play? Do you want to play strong and physical? Well, Florida Atlantic did it against Tennessee. UConn, you want to play fast? UConn go play fast with you, Miami. You want to play a defensive game? All right. We saw Florida Atlantic could do that. Certainly San Diego State can do that. UConn, you want to do that? We can do that. You want to throw it in the post? Sanogo is the best post scorer in the Final Four. This is a fun Final Four. Say whatever you'd like. Well, the ratings are, well, this, that. Great. When that ball tips off Saturday night, this is going to be a lot of fun. Make no mistake about it. None. Zero. It is going to be an absolute freaking blast to watch. Now, I get it. We all want Duke, Carolina. All right, fine. That's already been played. But you don't have them. And I'm glad you don't have them. Dusty May, to me, is one of, if not the stories of college basketball in however many years you want to take it. I'll also say this, though. Like, we always do. It's the greatest story in college basketball. But think about this. Texas Tech made the championship game. You know, there's a lot of great stories in college basketball. Virginia loses, first 16 seed to lose. They bounce back, and they're down the next year in the first round to a 16 seed. They bounce back and win the national championship. There's always a great story in this tournament. VCU, Jim Larinaga has coached 3 places. I followed him at Bowling Green. He didn't make the tournament. He goes to George Mason, he's in the Final Four. He goes to Miami, he's in the Final Four. Bowling Green's a tough place to coach, man. It is. I think he made 1 NIT, I made 2. That's it. No, I'm telling you, it's a tough place to coach. But this is a fascinating Final Four. Okay, maybe the ticket prices are going to be down, which they should be. Look, when Kentucky comes to town, you got ticket prices through the wazoo. You don't have Kentucky. You don't have Carolina. You don't have Indiana. You don't have Tennessee. You don't have Alabama. You don't have big state school. You got state. You got hyphen. So what? They're fun teams to watch. Looking forward to talking to Bruce Pearl about this as well. Bruce Pearl's teams based on toughness over the years. I'm looking at these 4 teams and I'm saying, look, San Diego State will fight you. Florida Atlantic will fight you. Interesting. UConn will fight you. Miami will fight you. Hell, Miami, big headline in our newspaper here, Indy Star, Indiana quit. People mad at me for saying it. Hell, even guys that don't know their backside from third base know that Indiana quit against Miami, and Miami made them quit. By the end of the game, Indiana's walking up and down the court. By the end of the game, Indiana's looking around like, whoa. That's what Miami does to you. How do they do it? Well, they do it because they get after you. They do it because they're relentless on the drive. They do it because they can guard yours better than you can guard theirs. I'm just telling you. That's what we got. All right, we'll see Bruce Pearl. Nothing has transpired yesterday in the Aaron Rodgers or the Lamar Jackson saga. What did transpire is that Anthony Richardson threw a ball that hit the roof in their blow-up dome, and I will guarantee you this. I'll guarantee you, if the Colts stay at 4, they're going to take Anthony Richardson. I shouldn't say I guarantee you because you know what happens. You exactly know what happens. Well, Dakich, we got to get to – no, but I'm just looking at it, and I'm saying to myself, you know what? I think we've seen this – well, we've never seen this before. But the Colts get enamored. I think they take him if they don't go after Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson requested a trade on March 2nd. They placed a $32.4 million franchise, they being the Ravens, on Lamar Jackson. My hope is that the Colts go do it. My hope is also that Dusty May left in a clause in his contract where it says, hey, look, we, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to bring you back to Indiana. Yeah. That's what I hope. Doesn't mean I'm right. Our lady Emma Jo Morris, a bunch of Hunter Biden's crimes are literally on video. Do you know who Emma Jo Morris is? She's a lady that comes on our show. She's freaking awesome, and she has Hunter Biden's she has Hunter Biden's hard drive. A bunch of them with hookers, by the way, and he's chilling in L.A. Hey, the Trump thing ain't fair, baby. Nobody ever said life was fair. You got to go fight it now because you got a racist DA and you got a politically motivated DA. What are you going to do? Is what it is. It's the world we live in. Be right back. Bruce Pearl next.
Welcome into OutKick the show. I am Clay Travis, your fearless leader.
I am going to continue to argue that sports is one of the great unifying forces in all of American life.
ESPN is a sinking ship. Democrats are now the party of the white, woke college graduate.
So the higher that number can be, the better you are with the committee. It's really that simple.
You gotta lean into the turns. You really got to lean into the turns.
He's got incredible taste in which media figures he listens to.
Very difficult to go back-to-back years in the NFL with the number 1 overall pick.
I've been out of LA long enough to have forgotten that libs, no matter how ridiculous the scenario, are gonna live. Another week of inflation, another week with Biden with COVID, and another set of losers to crown. People don't watch the WNBA on TV, in person, on a plane, on a train, on a bus, or on purpose.
The scary thing, Tommy, is in the history of this government, I've never seen them give anything back that they've taken.
Oh no, they never do.
And they won't.
Why are we going through Melania's goods? Don't make Brittany Griner out to be some type freedom fighter. Shouldn't there be a little bit of common sense? Let's roll them, big boy. What do you got?
They want to find someone to be the face of domestic terrorism, and they want it to be a right-wing Trump supporter. Don't let them entrap you into doing something dumb. But they were hyper-rational. They looked at the data, and they said it makes no sense for me to submit to this COVID shot mandate.
Get the shot or you can't go to your brother's wedding. Get the shot or you can't go to your daughter's graduation. Get the shot or else.
Live via phone. They used to say live via satellite. Bruce Pearl joins us from the Final Four. Coach, all four of these teams have shown real toughness. Your teams have always been really tough. What do you think in general of this Final Four?
Well, Dan, I think you've hit the nail on the head. You know, back in the day, you know, we used to put those Cinderella slippers on those mid-major programs that got older and had been together for a while, and they'd go up against those high major teams that may have some more talent, a little more size, but a lot more youth and experience. But now it's actually hard to get old because the transfer portal, these good mid-major programs, they get good young players, you know, and those good young players want to play at a high major level. So it's really, really hard, you know, for those teams to do it. But Florida Atlantic and you know, it's interesting, Dan, you know, they're in Conference USA on their way to the American. They're moving up in class a little bit, and they're trying to, they're certainly acting like a high major program. And, you know, that's what wins. That's what wins. It's not always who's got the most talent. Okay, who's got the teams that play the hardest and play together, love each other, and that's been clearer in this tournament than any I can remember.
Coach, let me go through them individually. You coached teams that weren't supposed to do great things, but now Dusty May has. Florida Atlantic has been great all year. What do you think of them? What do you see in them?
You know, it's interesting. There are some similarities in how these teams are built. You know, the ability for, you know, them to almost guard 1 through 5, or at least 1 through 4, be able to do some switching, to be able to put at least 4 guys on the floor at the same time that can shoot the basketball. You're seeing big guards now that always wanted to play guard that are willing to say, hey, dude, you know, you need to be a power forward. You're a matchup problem at the 4, and sometimes those 4s are ranging between 6'5" and 6'7", and they're a matchup problem. It's actually something, you know, that because we've not always been able to recruit real size, you know, some of my teams have had.
San Diego State, a lot of people didn't know about, but Steve Fisher went out there from the whole thing at Michigan. And I think, you know, a couple of years ago, he was 30-2. He established, I think, pretty quickly that this is a culture there of real toughness, did he not?
Yeah, he did. You know, he took that old, you know, Big Ten, you know, mentality that, you know, Dutcher had at Minnesota, you know, that Steve brought to a certain extent, you know, at Michigan with a little bit more talent. And, you know, they never were the fastest paced teams, but they was always big and physical and fundamentally sound. And you know, it's funny, Dan, I think you see that with older coaches, you know, guys that have been around. He's kind of, I know it's cool. He's a little old school. I mean, he's kind of like, he's almost my age. You know? And you know, look, defense and rebounding win championships. At the bottom line is defense and rebounding win championships. And then if you can make some threes and spread the floor, that's going to, I knew when Alabama matched up against San Diego State that was going to be a tough matchup for Alabama because of the way San Diego State guarded.
You know, it is funny. I used to talk about it, Coach Knight and I, about, well, you know, Keith Smart makes a shot. We got rings. Keith Smart misses a shot. We don't have rings. It's make or miss. But I think to your point, and your team's, you know, when you went to the Final Four, your team defensively was terrific. Defense does play in the tournament, does it not?
Dan, listen, it's incredible. Okay, you know, the way to win at the end, like, okay, last 4 minutes, how do you win? You do 2 or 3 things. Number one, you get stops. Like, number one, you get stops. Now, what does getting stops mean? Stops means that first ball that's shot, right? And the second is no offensive rebounds. You've got to get stops. Okay. Second thing, offensively, you got to get to the foul line. You know, it's hard to score buckets. It's hard to do what Keith Smart did from the baseline in New Orleans against Syracuse. That's hard to do. And I tell my guys all the time. And so late in the game, will you guard? Will you sit down? Or you come out of your stance? Are you going to worry about being fouled? Well, I got 4 fouls, so I can't guard. No, dude, it's the last 4 minutes of the game. It doesn't matter right now whether you foul out. You know, we need stops.
Hey, Coach, how important I'm watching more basketball than I've watched maybe my life. I'm watching big guys. Big guys got a hell of a job in modern defense. They got to play the post. They got to come out from in, play the ball screen, play the roll guy, play the drive guy, clog up the lane. Sanogo's the only guy really that they throw it to, 18 points a night. How important is the big defensively now?
Man, he's everybody. He's the captain of the defense because he's the anchor. He's in the back. He's in the back and he's seeing everything. In addition to everything you said, which was spot on, it's also about communicating. He's calling the ball screen defenses every time. He's got to come on out, whether we're going to switch or whether we're going to hedge or whether we're going to put it in direction or we're going to weak it to the weak hand or we're going to ice it or down it and keep it on the sides. And then so he's got to get up there and he's got to sort of get the guard through, all right, in a variety of different ways. Then he's got to go back in there and make contact with the big that's rolling out of there because, for a second that ball screen, you're 2-on-1. And so the ability to move and be a little bit more agile. And now the other advantage there that though they've given them is the officials, the way they're calling the game now, they've given the big a real advantage. It used to be verticality, leave your feet A to A, leave on point A, land on point A. Right now it's A to C. If you jump, and I don't care whether you're going halfway across the land, if you jump up in the air and your hands are above, you're like, don't shoot. And they're letting those big guys get away with a lot of contact.
Did I lose you, Ron Artest?
No, you got. I'm good. I got you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Ron Artest did that to me. Like, hey, man, how you doing in the middle of an interview in a hotel lobby? So, that's the first time you've been compared to Ron Artest, I'm sure.
Yeah. Size, stature, and color. Never been compared to Ron Artest before. Never.
When are you going to
He's a little bit more athletic than I am. Yeah, no, I can't. Too many skeletons. Too many skeletons in the closet, and they don't get anything done. They don't get anything done, And they think like they think SEC recruiting is dirty. SEC recruiting is nothing compared to politics. I don't want any part of it. I want to raise my flag, but I don't want to be any part of that politics.
Hey, last thing. What are your thoughts, Danny Hurley? That's an interesting year, right? Bruce, 15-2 or whatever, and then he loses 5 of 7, and then he brings it all back. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think. Look, the toughest conference in the country is the one you're in. That's the toughest league in the country, and the Big East was really, really good this year. And so they have get off to a great start, and then all of a sudden, you go in the Big East, and those teams know you. Right? We scout each other. The Big Ten, we used to knock each other's brains out. When you were in Indiana and I was at Iowa, we knew everything about each other. And it was sometimes refreshing to get into the non-conference, where the book on Coach Hurley isn't out. And so it took that team a little while to adjust, to that. But Dan, they're the best team. They've got everything. And what I'm really excited about for Dan Hurley, of the Hurleys, father and sons, he was the least heralded. He was sort of the runt of the litter, and I'm so happy for him to have been able to establish his own greatness as a Hurley. It's a fantastic story, and I'm really happy. David Benedict is the athletic director at UConn, and he was the guy that hired me along with Jay Jacobs at Auburn. So David Benedict is there. And he's got a little bit of a magic touch. He's hired 2 Final Four coaches, and he might have hired the coach of the 2023 national champions.
It is interesting you say that. Hurley is kind of like Cooper Manning or like Steve Alford's brother Sean. I always felt like, man. But
yep.
Danny was a good player, but he wasn't at the level of his dad or his brother in terms of notoriety. That's a great point.
Yeah, his dad was maybe the greatest one of the greatest high school coaches of all time. His brother was one of the greatest point guards to ever play the game, an ACC legend, a Hall of Famer. And Dan was always really good. And now he's got a chance to cut nets. So it's a great American story, man. The bottom line in this country, you bust your ass, you work hard. I don't care what they say. We all get our shot, and we all get. It's easier for some than others, man. But just take this opportunity and run with it and be what you want to be, man. It's possible. I'm living the American dream. I thank God every day for the opportunity to coach basketball at Auburn and live the life that I live. But I had to work my ass off to do it. And anybody, if I can do it, Dan, if you can do it, if we can, are you kidding me? Anybody could do it.
You're preaching to the choir, brother. Bruce, it's great talking to you, man. Thanks for the time. Fantastic.
Best of the family. Thanks for having me back, and talk soon.
Same to you. Tell Steven hello and stay out of trouble. Stay out of trouble.
Yeah, now, come on. I'm too old to get into trouble, brother. I love you, man. You do such a great job.
Your son.
No,
I was talking about
Steven.
Steven. Tell him to stay out of trouble. No trouble.
He's smart enough to stay out of trouble. Okay, I'll tell him. All right, man. I'll
tell
see
you, brother. That's Bruce Pearl. Bruce is great, man. If you follow him on Twitter, you're going to find a guy that is unafraid, and I love it. No, I love it. He's unafraid to share his political views. He's unafraid to stand up for his faith. He is at a point in his life where, you know what, quite frankly, we all should be. Where, you know what, if you want to get mad at me, get mad at me. If you want to get sad at me, get sad at me. If you want to get angry at me, get angry at me. Whatever you want to do, you go ahead and do. But Bruce Pearl is sensational, and I'm with Bruce. Look, Danny Hurley, for those of you that don't know, Bobby Hurley was a superstar in college basketball. An absolute superstar. Bobby Hurley, Christian Laettner, a couple national champions, along with Grant Hill, Thomas Hill, Brian Davis, the whole crew. They were great at Duke. They were a rock show. You all see the shot that Laettner made, the pass that Grant Hill made, but the truth of the matter is Danny Hurley was right in the middle of it. We were beating them in 92. We were thrashing them, cutting them up. Then we couldn't guard Danny Hurley. I mean, of all the people you can't guard, we could not guard Bobby frickin' Hurley, which is what his name was. Bobby frickin' Hurley, and it wasn't frickin'. So then, if you don't know, his dad is one of the great coaches. You know, his dad is like the guy in high school basketball when you went to go see his teams, you felt bad. Even though we were crazy tough at Indiana, you felt bad that you weren't tough enough on your players after you went to go see Coach Hurley. You just did. You went to St. Anthony's, you went to the bingo hall, you watched the practice, and you're like, holy hell. I had an opportunity to spend all Sunday with him, him, and Randy Ayers, the coach at Ohio State. Just had a great time. Talking ball, getting on the court, walking through motion offense, how to come off screens. And Danny was like the afterthought. But Danny did play at Seton Hall. Now, I got to tell you, he played for PJ at Seton Hall just after they went to the Final Four. And that's pretty good. But his brother set such a damn high standard that it was like, holy crap. Holy cow. Like, man, oh man. Anyway, all right, couple of things. Player of the Year in college women's basketball, according to the Associated Press, is Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark plays tonight. Now, look, she is going to face a team in South Carolina. And maybe you all don't care about this, but I'm telling you, if you watch it, you're going to enjoy it. Yeah, you're going to enjoy it. You're going to enjoy watching this lady and these ladies play basketball. In fact, I would argue, and this is true, the tickets, both are in Houston, the tickets for the women's Final Four are going for more than the men's Final Four. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but a lot of it is Caitlin Clark and star power. It's true. We all like star power, right? We all like, hey, man, I want to see a superstar. You don't really have that in the men's Final Four. Boy, you have it in the women's Final Four. You got the woman that was Player of the Year last year, Aaliyah Boston. You got the woman that's Player of the Year this year, Caitlin Clark, and they are fun. Is the basketball the greatest? I don't know, and I don't care. I know it's fun to watch, competitive as hell, and this girl, this lady, Caitlin Clark, is fan-freaking-tastic. By the way, breaking news, I just got invited to the congressional softball game. Maybe, just maybe, I'll go. I don't think I'm playing. I mean, if they did, you know. Remember last year, the big old gal hit a home run, then flipped off or got out at first base, and then she flipped off the Republicans. The most inclusive of us, the Democrats, are flipping off Republicans. I don't get it, but what are you going to do? It's the way the world works. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I did watch baseball yesterday. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Cubs are going 162-0. If you at me about it, we're going to throw hands. Was this the greatest on-camera interview in Don't At Me history? That was Seth Greenberg, a walk and talk through the dome, if you didn't see it, out to the truck. From the truck, Seth Greenberg made it into the car where he had the makeup lady, Trish, sitting behind him, and we continued the interview. I would argue that's an interview. I would argue those, ladies and gentlemen, are professionals. We are pros here. We are absolute professionals. We do the interviews when we're supposed to do them. All right. Donald Trump got indicted. I don't know if does anybody really care. Like, I would ask a question, what are you expecting here? Here's what's going to happen. Regardless, Trump is going to have to turn himself in. Regardless, Trump is going to be booked, right? I mean, isn't that what happens? There's going to be a mugshot. You know what's going to happen with that mugshot? That mugshot is going to be everywhere. Serious business. That mugshot is going to be, oh man, everywhere. Trump, raided, indicted. Stone, raided, arrested. Bannon, Navarro, Giuliani. You see it. Insider traders walk free. Epstein clients walk free. Hunter Biden walks free. Clinton's walk free. See, this is what's happening. And this is the power of the media. I've told you this on this show. And people can argue with me, and I've not heard one political pundit say this. The number one thing, ladies and gentlemen, that got done in the Trump administration, besides a booming economy, just take that out, is the power of the media was firmly established. The media established two things. One, sides. It was always kind of, liberals could always say, well, we're the party of inclusion. We all knew that was crap, but they could say it. Sides were clearly drawn. Sides were, boom, you are this in the media if you are conservative. You are this in the media if you are liberal. Sides were drawn. And that became no rules with those sides for both parties. The other thing that got established is this. Not only were sides drawn, it was clear that the side favored heavily the left, the liberals, boom, the Democrats, and it's not close. And because of that, we have seen the power of the media. You're not seeing very many You're not seeing very many media people sit around and go, well, Trump's getting screwed here. No, what you're seeing is damn near a celebration. What you're seeing is damn near people running around in the streets going, yay, rah, the king is dead. Hell, Stormy Daniels is trying to sell merch. Look her up. She's trying to sell merch. What are we doing? That's the level that we are at right now. And that's what I said the whole time. I tried to tell you. The media's power was increased exponentially with Donald Trump losing that election. Look, we all know there's nobody in their right mind that's paying attention that doesn't know that there's all kind of voter stuff going on. Did it influence the election? If I had a gun to my head, I'd say, of course. So would you. Would you not? Gun to head now. I'm not saying you're having a casual conversation with your buddies and you don't want to piss anybody off. Like, you don't want to go around and spout, but if you had a gun to your head and they said, hey, gun to head, did voter election ballot fraud influence the election? 99.9% of the people would say, of course. That's right, Sean. Even Lula knows how bad the media is. Hey, Dan, if I look up Stormy Daniels, my company would probably fire me. There she is, ladies and gentlemen. There she is. Now, look, Trump's a pig. I've said it the whole time. Trump's a pig. She's trying to sell merch. But I don't get how this happens. I don't get it. Now, gun to head. Does this Trump indictment amount to anything? Let me ask you, amount to anything? Does it influence the election? I've already told you I'm voting for him. You can give me anything. I am voting for Donald Trump, and if that blanks anybody off, good. But I am voting for the man. That's the only thing that I can do to express my, displeasure, lack of respect for the American major corporate media. It's the only thing I can do. I can't do anything else. So that's what I'm going to do. And I never have voted for Donald Trump. A lot of people say, well, you're a Trump. No, I never voted for him. No, never did. All right, let's jump over, unless you got one more here, Dylan and Ryan. If you got one more, hey, look, I want hard work. I want hard work rewarded. Because the end wokeness on Twitter, look at this. This is unbelievable. 7 girls are suing the University of Wyoming for putting a biological male in their house, 6'2", 250. He is being accused of harassment. And if you've read this story, this dude's walking around with an excited package. This guy's walking around in a little tiny towel. This guy's leering. Now, I don't know what's true or not. I don't know. But I know this. I'd sue the hell out of him. And why does this guy want to be, why does he want to be in, why does he want to be in a sorority house? I mean, look, I understand you slice the thing off, you become a woman. All right, maybe you want to be in a sorority house. But let me ask you this question. Why? I mean, what is going on with you that makes you want to do it? Well, I want to prove a point. Why? Where are we with, you know what? Yes, this may prove a point to me, but what about the other ladies of the Kappa Kappa Gamma house? They're alleging that the women felt uneasy by this guy. His name is Langford. They referred to under his pseudonym Terry Smith in the suit after she allegedly stared at them without talking for hours, walking down the hall to take a shower. One of these sorority members was wearing only a towel. She felt unsettled, turned around, and this guy Smith is sitting there staring at her. An adult human male does not become a woman just because he tells others that he has a female gender identity and behaves in what he believes to be a stereotypical female manner, the lawsuit stated. The woman's claims have been shut down by the director of the sorority. The sorority is saying, hey, look, we don't discriminate against gender identity. I'm all for it. Hey, man, you want to slice the packy? You want to stuff it up in there? You want to go act? All right, then, hey, look, maybe so, but you can't just walk around going, you know what? I'm going to grow my hair long, and if you look at a picture of this woman, that's all this is. I'm going to have a pee-pee. I'm going to grow my hair. I'm going to wear glasses like, and I'm going to say I'm a woman. It doesn't seem right. But think about this. Think about the stuff we worry about in our country. This is the crap that's going on here because we've allowed it, because we've gotten so weak. You want to be transgender? Go be transgender. But why are you infringing on all these other women? Why are you more important than anybody else? I don't get it. And I'm sure I'm an ist, I'm sure I'm an obic, I'm sure I'm a bigot, I'm sure you all are too. No, I'm not going to put you in with me. But I'm just saying, I'm sure that's what I am. And fine, I get called it every day, among other things. Who cares? But son of a gun. All right, when we come back, I'm going to break down the Final Four. I'm going to tell you who's going to win and why. I'm going to try to tell you who to bet, but I got to tell you, this betting on this Final Four, this is hard. Like, do you believe that Florida Atlantic, after a week off, having their you-know-what's kiss, which they have, Dusty May is great. Dusty May said, hey, man, if you see any of our players out doing something they shouldn't be doing, let me know. Tell on them, because we won't win a national championship. But when you talk to Dusty May, you know that's facetious. You know that he believes in his players and has believed in his players this entire year to do the right thing. For those of you that don't know, Dusty May's the head coach at Florida Atlantic. All right, look at this. Look at the big fella in there. Big fella feels like a woman today. Full disclosure, I have used the women's restroom. Sometimes I got to go, and I got to go bad. So I just announced I feel like a woman, and I go into the women's bathroom. What? I can't do that? What's the problem? What? Don't at me about that. That's what we do now, is it not? All right, we'll come back. Hey, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, our friend Haley has some TikTok videos, and I'm very much looking forward to that. Yes, TikTok is still a thing. Yes, TikTok is still alive and well and infiltrating. Did you know that there is an act where this is why lawmakers want to keep TikTok, or because there is another addendum to an act that says if TikTok is still there, they can get all your information from your Ring phone, from everything. We don't need that act in our lives. I just read 1984 again 2 years ago. Man, oh man, is it coming true. Oh yeah, last thing, I love the pitch clock. I'm looking at you. I love the pitch clock. I'm watching last night, and I didn't know what was going on because I was kind of in bed, and Ohtani was pitching. I had one Ohtani going, then I had the Dodgers going on the other channel. And I'm like, man, this is much more fun to watch, and I didn't realize. I didn't realize that we're in the middle of a pitch clock. I didn't realize that we're in the middle of something that is transforming baseball, making it shorter. And ladies and gentlemen, it is not about you getting home quicker. It's not. I heard an explanation. I think Joe Davis on the Dodgers network did it yesterday. I heard an explanation. It's really good. You're trying to condense the time for action, which means more action in a shorter time as opposed to less action in a broader time. That's brilliant. It's a great description because that's exactly what it is. It's more action in a shorter time. And who doesn't want that? No, seriously. That's a great description. And I was watching the games last night, and I know that Sean Black and others on the YouTube chat really like baseball, and I'm sitting there going, man, why is this so much better? And then I saw the clock. I go, okay, that's it. It's pretty good. It was pretty good. All right, we'll be right back. Let's talk some Final Four. Jennifer, the patron saint of our YouTube chat, put a really good tweet out. We'll read it when we come back.
How hard is it to repeat? I have no idea. Never did it. I would argue that it's probably, I would say without a doubt, probably the hardest sport to repeat in. Even though, I mean, you look at the Braves in the 90s, who won, what did they win? 15, 16 straight division titles, one World Series. The Indians in the late 90s should have had multiples. To me, that's what makes the Yankee thing so amazing. That 97, 98, 99 run, or 98, 99, 2000 run is incomprehensible to me as a player. I played in 4 World Series, blessed to play in 4 of them. 1993, then 8 years later, then 3 years later, then 3 years later. No team that I was ever on come late May had in my opinion, we did. Arizona, we got hurt late. Gonzo went down late in the year, and RJ and I were hurt on and off during the season. Or no, 02. We had a good series, but Gonzo got hurt late in the year in the postseason. In 04, we got to the playoffs, or 05, we got to the playoffs, and the White Sox won it that year. We had to play through the end of the season to get in. I remember pitching that last day against the Indians, or against the Yankees, with the Indians needing a win or a loss. But we ended up getting swept by the White Sox in the series. I never got to pitch in, but I can't imagine it. It takes an enormous amount of talent, but probably twice as much luck to avoid injuries and stupid stuff. In the middle of a pennant race and your best player gets brought up on charges of sexual assault, stuff like that. Which in today's day and age, now it's gone to in the middle of a pennant run and your shortstop says something on Twitter and is immediately throttled by the cancel culture. And unfortunately, those are the things. Those are going to happen. And surprisingly, still players are getting caught doing PEDs, which blows me away that people are that stupid. But yeah, if you can avoid that stuff for year after year after year, and these are 9-month seasons, guys. This goes from February to late October if you're a winner. That's amazing to avoid that in a year, much less 2, 3, 4 years. So yeah, really, really hard.
Hey, did you see this? Our favorite racist, Kendrick Perkins. Listen to this. Kendrick Perkins gets an MVP vote. Kendrick Perkins likes a tweet suggesting he won't vote for a white player. Bobby Barack is all over this. Bobby Barack, I don't know, man. Look, Bobby Barack, Kendrick Perkins accused white voters without any proof of having racial bias. Now he has a vote and admitted racial bias. He's admitted racially biased. Suffice to say, neither Djokovic or any white player will get his vote. Yeah, man. All right. I think I'm going to lay off Kendrick Perkins because he's frankly not that interesting. I mean, the only interesting thing that he has said has been, hey, look, you guys are racist. That's all the guy's got. That's why I've liked this college basketball season. This college basketball season to me has been fun. This college basketball tournament has been a blast. So let's go through the teams. Florida Atlantic, number one. Look, you got to understand something here. This is not this little underdog that could. This is a group of really talented players, and I'm telling you right now, John L. Davis, the kid from Gary, Indiana, I have been told has already been offered 6 figures to transfer to a bigger school. Now, is that legal? I have no idea. There was a time in our lives where that wasn't legal. But my point is twofold. Number one, that's the world of college basketball. And number two, that's how good this kid is. Like Dusty May came out the other day, and Dusty May said, look, my players, through middlemen, are being attempted to poach. Now, you guys have said to me, well, Dusty May's doing that to other players as well. No, not really. What you do is you look in the portal. I was talking to my son who spends all day looking at the transfer portal. You look at the portal all day, and then when a kid's name is in the portal, you make the phone call. That is not poaching players. Poaching players is when the season is going on and a guy like John L. Davis is not in the portal. Middlemen, guys working for shoe companies, guys working for other programs, guys working for AAU programs that are tied to college basketball programs are talking to not only Janelle Davis, but also to his people. Davis had a conversation with the mayor of Gary, Jerome Prince, the other day. They asked Jerome to give him a call. It went well. Jerome doesn't represent anyone. Jerome is just proud of the guy from his town that he is the mayor of, Gary, Indiana. They had a nice conversation. That's not poaching. No. That's simply, hey, how you doing? Poaching is when you, as a staff member of a program, are working whatever way it is to do nefarious things to get a kid away from his program. That's exactly what I could see happening without question. Without question to the kids at Florida Atlantic, led by Janelle Davis. Hell, even fans jump in this. Saw the other day, Janelle, come home. Meaning come back to Indiana. Another guy from Purdue did the same thing. I mean, let's be honest. The kids are in a good position. They're playing in the national championship Final Four. They're going to have an opportunity to make a ton of money, if not there, somewhere else. I just hope they all keep it together. And it's reason that from a coach's perspective, I think the NIL and the transfer portal suck. So let's get that out of the way. Florida Atlantic is really good. You don't make the Final Four by not being good, but they're good in an interesting way. They don't have to make 12 threes. They don't. They can guard you, and they can keep you in front. And they rebound it by committee. They tap it out. They go to the boards. They're athletic, and they're long. It's a really good basketball team, but here's what to watch. I'm going to give you what to watch on every team. Here's what to watch. I talked about it a little bit earlier. Watch if the man guarding the ball, Florida Atlantic University's defensive player, guarding the basketball, okay, can keep his own man in front of him. If they can do that, they got great defense. And here's the second thing. Defense into offense. Can Florida Atlantic get the ball down the floor and before they set up, they being San Diego State, before they set up, can they get offense? The best team of all time to do what is called secondary break, Dean Smith, Roy Williams, Bill Guthridge, North Carolina. Nobody ran secondary break like those guys. It became their offense. And it has to be part of, if not the main offense for Florida Atlantic. Not back it out and set it up, but get into offense quickly. How do you do it? You either throw it ahead, drive the ball, kick it out, reverse it, just flow into it. Because San Diego State can guard. For San Diego State, here's the deal. Seth Greenberg asked, who's going to go score at the end? Is the Trammell kid who made the free throws, got fouled, controversy or not? The bottom line is the definition of foul is when the official raises his hand, points at you, and says foul. That's the definition. So what's going to happen late in the game? Who's going to go make a Key Smart? Who's going to go make a Jenkins? Who's going to go make a shot to win it? I don't know. So what does SDSU have to do? The best thing SDSU can do is turn turnovers into touchdowns, meaning get after Florida Atlantic and turn them over to where it's called a live ball turnover. You get a turnover and you immediately turn it into a bucket, a foul, maybe a three-point shot, whatever. That's the best thing they can do. But Florida Atlantic just doesn't give you the basketball. They'll handle the ball. They got 4 guards out there most times that can handle the basketball. That's the best thing San Diego State can do. Second best thing San Diego State can do is establish the post Mensa. Establishing the post, and it's not old school. Maybe make a jump shot from the free throw line. Maybe throw it to him on the block. Pick and roll, get down the lane. Lob. Put the defense in tricky situations, particularly the Golden kid, who's the defensive force, I think, for Florida Atlantic in the middle. Put him in tough situations where he's got to guard handoffs and ball screens multiple times. And then at the end of a possession, if you want to do what Purdue does, bail out, throw it inside, go get a bucket. Those two things are huge in the game. Turnovers and touchdowns, man. If San Diego State can do that, they're going to win the game, and they're going to win it easy. Miami. Miami's playing against the best team in college basketball right now. So what do they have to do? Well, they cannot deviate against the length. When you play against Indiana, Indiana was long. They were long. They had long, but they were thick-hipped. They were thick-legged. The guys for UConn are long, but they're athletic, thin ankle, broad in the shoulders, stretched out. They can move. And you can't all of a sudden get up against that because it's different. I got all kind of stories of, man, we didn't scout this team in person. We saw them on tape. And then when we got out there, it was like, wow, this team is way longer, way bigger than we imagined them to be. And that really affected us. So going through Miami, you beat Drake. You beat them in the end. You're getting ready to get beat by Drake. You went on a hell of a run. You made Indiana quit. You made Houston quit. You took away quickness. Not real inside strength, but the quickness of Texas, and you played it out to 80. Now you're going to combine things a little bit. You're going to combine the toughness of Houston with really the quickness of Texas and the length of maybe nobody else in the tournament. So what do you got to do? The ball has to go side to side. You cannot watch this in the Miami game. If the ball stays from the top of the key to one side, whether it's the right side or whether it's the left side, that's bad business because now you've cut the court in half and the length takes over. But if you move the ball side to side, again, you can do it by passing to the top of the key, reversing it. You can do it dribbling to the top. You can do it handing off, whatever you got to do. But the more the ball goes side to side, the better it is for Miami because what happens? The defense spreads. And when the defense spreads, now Miami can go. Now you can Wong, now Peck, now these guys Miller. Now they can get to the rim. Now they can put real pressure. But the pressure comes from the defense if the ball is left on one side. Now, the other thing you're going to have to do if you're Miami, you better get on the backboard. I mean, you better get on the backboard and you better get every 50-50 ball. Because I'm telling you right now, when UConn won 82-54, they absolutely 1,000% destroyed Gonzaga in every single way UConn did. But they also gave up 13 offensive rebounds, 6 to a guard, Andre Jackson. Guard 6'6". This is why I'm saying everybody's got offensive rebound. Everybody. If you're Miami, the most important thing is get that basketball. Get that basketball. I don't care who gets it. It doesn't matter. Jordan Hawkins, get the ball. Just get it. Johnson, get it. Every foreign guy, get it. It don't matter. You got to. And if you don't, you got a problem. You got to get, I used the wrong team, but you got to get the ball if you're Miami. Remember, Miami's 29-7. You know, UConn's 29-8. I mean, I know UConn's played the best, but damn. All right, if you're UConn, what do you got to do? You cannot lose your, I was going to use a word that I probably shouldn't use. You can't take a cold shower. You know what I'm talking about? You're playing so great, you can't lose that. And how do you lose that? You lose that by listening to guys like me say you're the best team in the tournament, or Bruce Pearl, or Seth Greenberg, or everybody in stores. You cannot lose that. Cannot. Period. Now, I don't anticipate Danny Hurley allowing it, but sometimes it isn't on the coach to allow. Here's some numbers for you. You know, Iona with Rick Pitino wants to get up and down. And Iona, it was a tough game. And then what happened? And you're going to see a trend here. Then all of a sudden, UConn blasted them. Ended up winning by 24. Went on a crazy run. Then it was St. Mary. St. Mary fighting pretty hard. Guess what? Second half, UConn, boom, ends up winning by 15. Then it was Arkansas. That game was ugly early because the run that I've been talking about happened at the beginning of the game. And next thing you know, you're winning by whatever score you want, but that run is coming. That run against Gonzaga was basically the entire second half. That run is coming. And if you are Miami, I don't care if you got to use timeouts. I don't care if you got to dribble into somebody to get a foul. I don't care, but you got to stop it. Because in all of these tournament games, in all four of them, that run is what's made the difference. Early in the game, you got to use a timeout. Who cares if you're Jim Larinay? He knows this. He's been coaching a lot longer than me. But that, ladies and gentlemen, watch the run. These runs crush you. They crush your souls. I tell you who's been crushing souls. Our friend Haley, she's been crushing souls left and right. You mess around with TikTok, Haley's going to crush you. You mess around with her values, Haley's going to crush you. Haley, what do you got today? What's going on?
Hey, Dan, how are you?
I'm spectacular. How's things in Nash Vegas?
Things in Nash Vegas are a little more somber this week than normal, but in terms of, you know, I mean, I actually cannot believe the Biden administration is talking about World Trans Visibility Day. I mean, this week of all weeks, we're going to lift up that group of people. They would never do that for any other, you know, group that the shooter belonged to. So we're reeling with that right now.
What's TikTok been like this week relative to that?
Well, relative to the shooting, I mean, people were absolutely appalled with Joe Biden's response where he's, you know, addressing a group of people for the first time. This is his first address to the nation, televised. I mean, this is literally on the White House's website where Joe Biden is talking about Jenny's chocolate chip ice cream. And it's just so out of touch and tone deaf. And a lot of people thought that the video was a deep fake. They were like, this cannot be real. This has to be edited. It has to be from another speech that he's done before. A lot of people were saying, oh, I heard him talk about this last week or 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, no, Joe Biden just talks about ice cream a lot, and especially in times of crisis.
That was the most absurd thing that I heard. And second was the White House press secretary talking about, because I went and read what these attacks are, and the attacks are basically saying, look, there's a lot of it, lot of bills, but the basic structure of it is, hey, look, if you're under 18, you better have a serious mental issue with that dysplasia. You better have 2 doctors, and you got to have parental consent. If you are a teacher, 6th grade and under, we're not talking about sex. We're not talking about gender identity at all. How about you just teach class? Somehow those type of things, which are basically guardrails, needed guardrails, are viewed, ladies and gentlemen, if you can believe this, as a tax.
It's so insane and out of the realm of reality. I can't even wrap my head around it. I don't know why we're protecting this group of people when there was legitimately a hate crime against another group of people. I don't know why there isn't this outpouring of support towards the Christian community. This was an attack on a Christian school, on a pastor's daughter. This is just, it's sick. It's so sick. I don't understand. The president would never, or any other president, would never make a day of visibility for any other shooters group, ever. That in the same week as the shooting, I can't imagine anyone signed off on that. But then it just goes to show how many wokes are surrounded by Biden in the White House.
What'd you think of the indictment of Donald Trump?
I don't really know too much about the legal process, but I can't imagine that anything would really happen. I think a lot of libs are salivating over the fact that they're going to see Trump in handcuffs and he's going to go sit in jail, and he's not going to rot in a jail cell like I think that they're going to, or they're hoping that he does. If anything, this is just going to energize him so much more. You can already see how much more energized the base is. So if anything, this just really kickstarted his campaign for 2024.
Yeah, I didn't vote for him, and I voted for me 2 straight times because, well, I thought I was a better candidate, and I got 52 votes in the state of Indiana, allegedly. That's what I was told. But anyway, I think I'm going to vote for Trump just out of spite. It's going to be a spite vote. It's like a Seinfeld episode. I'm just going to vote out of spite here. Right.
Listen, I voted for Donald Trump in 2016, in 2020, and I can't say for sure that I will vote for him again in 2024 because I have to see what the field looks like. I think it's maybe too soon to say. I'm waiting. I don't know if Ron DeSantis is going to run, but if the field stays the way it looks now, he's got my vote for a 3rd time for sure.
All right, what we got going on TikTok today, lady?
All right. So this week, like I was saying, we talked about this looming TikTok ban last week. Now, I don't know if you've heard of the Restrict Act, but this isn't just a bill to ban TikTok. It's a bill that would essentially be a government surveillance campaign. So they have access to, anything and everything that is in your home and all of your data. So how does that make us any better than China? And Rand Paul made that point on the Senate floor because Senator Josh Hawley, he made a kind of a counter bill, if you will, to the Restrict Act. So this is just in the Senate. Senator Josh Hawley was like, hey, I'm taking out all of the crazy Restrict Act stuff, and this is just a TikTok ban. And even then, it didn't go through because Senator Rand Paul was like, no, this makes us more like China than America. So a lot of libs on TikTok are actually praising Rand Paul. And I know you call me the queen of TikTok, but Rand Paul is actually the king of TikTok this week.
Aren't we the ones that say it's wrong for China to ban speech? So we're going to be just like China and ban speech?
I don't know what world we live in anymore where I agree with Rand Paul.
There's something in our water. I found myself in agreement with Tucker Carlson.
And then Rand Paul comes to save us all yesterday?
I'm filming this in my bathroom in case I throw up, because I have to say the following sentence. Rand Paul just did something really good. Nope, doesn't feel natural. Rand Paul got up and was like, this is stupid. And like everything he said made sense. God.
They're melting down.
Well, it is amazing if people would listen to one another. Maybe this would happen more often than not. Yesterday, I gave a dissertation, Haley, on listening. Like, people always ask me, what do you do as a radio host? Two things. One, you dominate the mic. You don't sheepish. Like, you come on and you dominate when you come on. And the second thing is you listen. And if people would stop being so ridiculous about their own party and just listen, maybe, just maybe, we'll get to a point 100%. Where, I don't know, right?
I always say the loudest voices are on the right and the left, like the far right and the far left, the MAGAs, the Democratic Socialists, the AOCs of the world. Okay, so you have these two extremes who are always screaming and yelling at each other. But the majority of Americans are somewhere in the middle. Those aren't the people who have the talk shows or are really outspoken on social media. Everyone in the middle, the independents, maybe the Biden voters who are having some buyer's remorse right now. Those are the people that we need to talk to, because the people on the right and the left, they're not the ones that are going to decide elections. It's the people in the middle, and you'd be surprised at how much we have in common.
There's no question. In fact, my wife, who is a staunch Republican, actually, I think it was on Joe Rogan, she listened to Bernie Sanders, and she's like, when you actually listen to what the guy was saying, it is so different than the sound bites that you hear, no matter where that you get him. Now, maybe Bernie Sanders isn't a good example, but he is a polarizing guy. And my wife is like, her mother, more than anybody, is like all day Fox News, all day, fine. Anyway, listening isn't a bad thing. What else you got for us today?
All right. Well, we've got 3 videos for you, so you can decide which one is the winner.
Is he down?
Excited.
Is he down?
So if you can't read that, it says
what?
POV, you're playing
Yes.
dodgeball and you throw an absolute piss missile at the kid that identifies as a cat. Honestly,
I like that.
Yeah, like I'm not going to advocate for bullying at all, but the kids who identify as animals need to really get a dose of reality real quick.
Did you see the guy in the sorority that is just identifying I'm a woman today? What are we doing?
Yeah, this is just going to be the trans movement in general. It just puts women at the low end of the totem pole, because any woman who's transitioning to be a man isn't going to beat biological men at sports. Any woman who, the only negatives are happening to biological women out of the whole thing. So now you have a grown man who is attracted to women, is going to join a sorority house and make women feel uncomfortable. But the whole world needs to be uncomfortable to make sure that this tiny, tiny portion of society, that they feel better. No.
Boy, you're preaching to the choir right there. I just talked about that exact thing. Why is this person more important than the 8 or 9 or 20 or 50 sorority girls who just came to college to, enjoy the lifetime relation? My daughter was in a sorority, and lifetime relationships. Drives me nuts. All right, what's the next one? Drives me nuts.
You ready?
Yo! I just found out my sister's having a baby! I'm gonna be a dad!
Hello, Dylan!
The people
Dylan!
The people at the bottom of the mountain are like, yay! And then all of a sudden there's like this unanimous no. they caught on to the joke.
Hey, you and I both know, don't make a mistake. Don't miss a word, damn it. It's uncle into dad. That'll get you crushed. Your soul will get crushed in the modern world. What else you got?
As you guys know, I made these How's My Driving stickers with my phone number on them. Thank you to everyone who's gone to my bio, got one, and put it on your vehicle.
Is this the guy in the Hyundai Accent?
No, this is Accountable Drivers Program, an opt-in safety program to keep the streets safe.
Brother, you just gave me the bird.
A man gave you the middle finger, who has one of our...
The middle finger, yes, in a Wendy's around children.
Did you happen to get the license plate?
Yeah, I had my son take a picture.
Okay, what is it?
It says Cheese Whiz.
Oh, it's a novelty license plate.
Yeah. Gee Whiz. It's like Chewiz.
Okay, well, this is actually the fourth complaint we've gotten for this sticker. So within that program, that means we have to escalate this call. I do need...
Okay, well, I'm fucking escalated. What's escalated?
Need you to solve a CAPTCHA. Just to...
What? A CAPTCHA?
Yeah, like, you know, when you're online and you have to solve, like, how many trees are in the pictures?
Red light, green lights. How many squares?
Yeah, because this is a government-funded program, they're really cracking down on cybersecurity, AI, etc. So you're going to hear 4 sounds, and I just need you to let me know how many of them are cats.
I think 3.
Okay, that's correct. Yeah, so the next step would be just tell me in detail what you were doing when he gave you the middle finger. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Yeah, I think our furnace turned on.
Well, I was picking up my kids. I didn't let him merge onto the road, and then he gave me the finger in front of my kids and all his friends.
You didn't let him merge?
No, it's fucking rush hour. I don't know. He's getting
Yeah.
Get in line.
There will be a penalty. To add a human touch to the email, we ask that you record an audio message so he can hear it straight from the person complaining. Is that doable?
Yeah, fine.
Okay, great. So when you hear the beep, you can go ahead and record that. And just be nice and loud because our phones are not the most sensitive.
Okay. Hey, Mr. Cheese Whiz or whatever, fuck you.
Okay, I think I have everything I need to file an official complaint. I just need a supervisor to sign off on it. Can I put you on hold for a quick moment?
Sure, yes, whatever.
A long, long time ago.
Oh my God.
It is the craziest lengths I've seen to troll someone.
What's that? I couldn't hear you. Turn that guy down. That's unbelievable.
It is the craziest lengths that this man goes to troll people. He has a "How's My Driving" sticker with his own number on it. So then he's getting calls from people who are complaining about his own driving. Then he sells the stickers so that other people can put it on their car with his phone number on it. So he just answers all these calls from disgruntled people. I didn't even know that people called those numbers. You're going to call and complain that someone didn't let you merge?
No, I'm not, but I know what you're saying. I'm not surprised. I like the guy who says I'm going to be a dad because his sister's pregnant. That's very Kentucky of them.
It's very Alabama. It's giving sweet
Who was
Alabama.
that one?
That was Ryan.
Ryan, congratulations. Ryan is on the board. That's funny stuff. Haley, keep fighting the good fight, will you please? I know, I think you are. We got a tote board going. Thank you. I love talking to Haley. It ends the day with a smile. I'll be on with Trey Gowdy Sunday Night in America coming up here in a little bit. Look at Ryan gloating. We got a three-way tie for first or last or second because there's only 3 people involved. Haley, thank you very much. Ryan, congratulate on your win. Dylan, thank you, and all for the hard work this week. Aaron and Gary and the whole crew, thanks. Have a fun, fantastic Final Four weekend. Dakich out!